So I'm going to be talking about this software called STed2, which is a MIDI sequencer and editor. And I had done this video once before, but it went on for way too long, so I'm going to try to make myself talk faster to speed it up, and also just not get distracted or hung up on stuff. But I'm just going to be talking about the installation of it and some very basic usage stuff. So yeah, the way I found STed2 originally was because I was looking for a super simple sequencer that was like plain text based or didn't have a super burdensome graphical user interface. So I think it's like Linux audio. And STed2, I don't remember exactly what. Oh, my thing doesn't work. Yeah, this is the one. So I wanted something, I mean, I'm a fan of like curses-based interfaces to begin with, yeah. Anyway, what this guy says is that he was looking for like an a.k.a. sound for MIDI, and I'm a big fan of a.k.a. sound to begin with, and it's not like STed2 solves that, but it's a little bit closer. Anyway, you can read that. If you try to go to this link, it's going to be a dead link, because this software is not maintained anymore, so you have to go to Web Archive to get it. And once you do that, I don't know, I always just go to 2001, also when I was born, so that's fun. You're going to download it. There's some information about like the original author, because it was originally written for this old Japanese computer that was running something like MS-DOS, but different. And this guy ported a lot of this guy's code for the X86000, and I don't know, there's a lot of like history there that I'm learning about, but I mean, time-wise and my level of knowledge-wise, I'm not going to talk about it. So that's downloaded. You're going to extract it. What's it called? Go in there. Most of the time you can just make stuff or configure and then make, but this is a bit messed up. So you're going to try to auto-reconf it, I don't know, sort of like brute force make it work, but this also isn't going to work, because it's missing a file called config.rpath, so you can just make that by typing touch config.rpath, and then run the same thing again. And now you should be able to get like a configure file, and run that, and once you do the configure, you'll have a make file that you can use, and that doesn't solve all your problems, but you'll see. So if you try making, we get a different issue, which is this make file in international, which is in here, has an issue on line 206, and you see this weird variable thing. You're going to get rid of anything between those @ symbols, and you're also going to modify the target on line 84, delete that thing, and then save it, and then try again, and then we get these different issues. It's all about implicit declarations. So what you have to do is, this is like written for an older version of like GCC, so if you do standard equals GNU 89, and then also I could walk you through like why you would find this out, but it takes time, and I also always forget that. You're also going to do this like common flag, And then there's one more thing left. There's this file called RCP to MID, and that's like a converter from this Japanese pre-MIDI standard, like equivalent to MIDI, and it's converting it to MIDI. But you're gonna go to STed2 rcpconv rcp to mid.c, and it's on line 799. It's just this stupid line breaking thing. If you just delete the spaces between there, it's fine. Oops. Then you're gonna make it with the same correct flags. Okay, so now if we go into the STed2 subdirectory of the STed2 that was downloaded, we have this binary, and you might get this issue, you might get a different one. I got a different one the first time I ran it, and I've been having this issue recently. And I don't know if it's just because I'm recording my audio or something weird, but what you're gonna do, I mean, a few things first. Before you even run that, you're gonna want to copy some configuration files, because even if this worked, it would be throwing an error because it doesn't have certain files that it wants in the same directory as the binary. So you're going to copy things from the etc directory of the STed2 you downloaded. And you're going to want the STed2.cnf.in, and you're going to rename that to STed2 just .cnf. Oops. And then you're also going to copy things in def file, and you could copy any of these, but it's gonna be easiest if you copy this one just to this same directory. Oh, well, that was the problem. Okay, so if you just run that, you'll get this like graphical user interface version. And I'll run through this real quick. So what you see is all of these panels, and I'm controlling this with my arrow keys. And there's all these things that do what you would expect, but the main things you're going to want to do are edit and set. If you click that with enter, or like press enter on it, now the arrow keys are controlling which channel you're on, and if you hit enter there, now we're in like the score editor or sequencer, and at this point you can type either like note names like C4 or just C and it'll default to 4. And you can also type like MIDI numbers, like if you type 60, that's also C4, and 61 will be C#4, and so on. And yeah, then there's like this weird display that doesn't make a lot of sense. But you edit that, and then to play it back, you're going to hit P, and this might or might not work for you, but I'll talk about like how you're going to configure that. But just hitting P will play that, and if that doesn't work, I'll talk about that. The other way you play things, because now that that's edited, it's saved in that first channel, and if you hit play, it'll also play it, and yeah. But I don't like this interface. I prefer the like curses based interface, and the way it's opening like the X11 version, and it's doing that by reading in this like display environment variable, and you see that's set. So if you unset display, now when it tries to read that in, it won't know that you have X11. So then, okay. This was the other problem I was having. So if you just kind of spam alternate between those two things, it should work if you run into that. I don't know why it's doing that, but it is. It's the same interface, I just prefer that it's it doesn't have this like extra layer of stuff on it. Anyway, same thing happens there. And something else you can do, that's just like what's playing right now, it isn't actually playing through STed2, it's sending like a stream of MIDI to something called Timidity, which is a MIDI player for Linux. And if you're using this on something else, I don't know if you got it to compile on something else, but you either will have that installed or it's not going to work. But to edit that, you would go to, get out of this, that configuration file that you brought in here. What is it? Wait, did I name that the wrong thing? What's the thing back in? Yeah, it should be STed2.cnf. Okay. If you go in here, a lot of this stuff is in Japanese, but you can sort of figure out what most of it is. The main thing that I'm trying to show you is, so whenever there's an asterisk, that's like a commented outline, so none of this stuff matters, but what's actually happening is every time that STed2 runs, it's reading in this line when it's trying to play something, and it's calling whatever command is here with whatever flags are after it, and then it's sending the MIDI stream to that. So I have Timidity installed. I think it's a good software, and yeah, I don't know. But I am going to tweak this, because these flags here, IDQ, I is just like telling it that we're going to specify an interface for it, and then D is the dummy one, which is, I don't know, it like doesn't display anything, and then Q is quiet. So there's no display happening, and that's fine, like there's no problem with that, but sometimes it's nice to be able to see, like, if you're having multiple channels, seeing which channel is playing something and which notes are on it is helpful. So what I'm going to do is, I'm specifying an interface again, but it's going to be IN, and that's for ncurses, and then T, I don't know exactly what that is, I think it's table, but it opens up this like table display that you'll see in a second. But that's not going to do anything yet, because when STed2 opens up, it basically takes over your terminal with the standard output from it. So anything else going on, you aren't going to be able to see. So what I had to do to fix that was going into sub rcdcheck.c, and there's going to be lines, if you look up dev, it's these lines from 328 to 330, and it's basically just saying anything from that program call, like the play program call, so Timidity in this case, all the standard in, out, and error from Timidity is going to be dumped into dev null, which is fine in most cases and avoids like clogging up stuff, but since we're breaking this anyway, we can just, we want to do something with the standard out, and we don't really care about the other things, and we can't just route it to like standard out, because then it'll take over the same display. So what I ended up doing, and I don't know if this is a good option, but it's what I did, is just route it to standard error, and then I'm going to make this again. I don't want to type all that stuff again. I never know if it like captures the thing. So I'm making this again, and then whenever it's calling Timidity, it'll send all of the Timidity output to standard error, which isn't going to be helpful unless we do something weird like get the name of this terminal, and then when we're running STed2, we take the standard error, which is 2, and route it to this terminal. 6. Oops. Oh. Well, you can see that it put the error message over there, but I was just in the wrong thing. So now, if I put in some notes here and play it, it opens up the Timidity ncurses display with that T flag, whatever, and shows you what's going on, which I just think is nice as a side thing, but yeah. And then other basic usage stuff, you can specify an instrument, because right now it's just whatever the first listed instrument in your sound font, which Timidity is using, is. And if you have Timidity, you probably had to specify which sound font, or at least install a default sound font with it. But it'll usually be just like a grand piano or something sound. But here, if you type /, oh, that's something else too. Let's get out of here and go back to our configuration file, which is STed2.cnf. All this stuff up at the top, you can leave the enter thing alone, but most of them are useful to be on. This, I think, is the thing that's changing, what I'm about to show you. Those two can stay off, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what that is, but why not? Sure. And then this edit mode thing, you can change it. I don't really have a preference for what it is, but you can try out different ones. Same here, I don't know. And then everything else is normal. And this is where that def file that I had to copy in was. And if you brought in any of the other ones, you would just comment this line and, you know, that sort of thing. You can also change like the color palette here. I don't know what this, I just didn't really look it up, but I tried changing it. If you're using the graphical user interface, you can change the color with these. And then, yeah, the rest of this stuff isn't, it's like key bindings and whatnot that you're not really going to need to mess with unless you want to. So what did I just do? Oh yeah, so I'm going to do the same thing where I'm routing the standard error to this other terminal. And now I'm going to do whatever, show you guys it playing again. And then if I want to change the instrument, I'm going to hit / and then move myself. It's going to open up the special controller, and they spelled controller wrong in different ways everywhere, but it was, you know, late 90s and written in Japan, so whatever. You're going to do program change to change the instrument, but I mean, you can mess with these other things too. These things aren't going to work unless you have like Roland hardware, I'm pretty sure, but I haven't tried it. This is all coming from the SC88 definition file. Program change, and then if you hit down, like the down arrow, you can go through all of the presets there. Let's do, I don't know what's gonna sound. Let's go something crazy. I mean, this is really not important, but let's just do a flute. If I play this now, it'll play the same MIDI data, but tell Timidity to use the flute sound. Yeah. Okay. And then something else you can do, something to keep in mind is anytime you're adding something, it'll, if you're on like this line, it'll do it to the line above it. So if I hit the left bracket, it's gonna like start a repeat block above whatever line I did that on, and the same thing with the right bracket. So I want to make sure I'm like below what I want to repeat. And you can tell it how many times to repeat that. So if I do 8 times, it should repeat like C, A, G, D 8 times. Yeah, that's 8 times, whatever. So something else here too, this is the step size or step time, and this is the gate time. So the step time is just how much space each note is given. So each note here is given like 48 time units, whatever. But it's only on for 46 of those. So if I change this to be a lot lower, it's going to be like staccato, I think is the term. Yeah. And something else, normally you could quit Timidity with Q, but since I'm like throwing away the standard input for Timidity, I can't really do anything about it. So I'm going to change that to 4, just so it's less annoying. But yeah, you can change the step size to be anything, but something to keep in mind is if you go to time and key, this time base that you set is what's corresponding to a quarter note. So if you set this to be 24, I mean, it's the same no matter what, it's the same amount of time, but I don't know. You just want to keep in mind like what the time scales that you're saying mean in terms of like what a quarter note is to your music. You can set the tempo here, beat, all that sort of stuff. And then what else? Let's show using different channels. So I edited channel 1 to begin with, but you can have like any number of channels. Let's do C. I don't remember what the other thing was. And I'm gonna want this to play like twice as long or whatever. And then I'm gonna change the instrument again to something that can be nice. Nice and sustained. Let's try that. So I'm gonna hit P again. Yeah, so you see it's like playing on 2 different channels, and then I changed the time so that what's a quarter note to the top is a like half note on the bottom. I think. I don't know my music stuff that well. But yeah. There's also other stuff with measures that I'm not going to get into, but you can look at the like documentation. Most of it is Japanese, but we have like Google Translate, whatever. But I think that's pretty much everything for the basics. Yeah, thank you for watching.